Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Fultz. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona and away. Joe for the first time. Nicholas Porcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that. There's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Doms. Possibly a little bit of contact.
Now as we've got three wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump.
Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out getgoodracing.com. I've coached hundreds of drivers, from real-life racers to sim enthusiasts, who experience rapid improvement after just one session. And while investing in top-notch hardware is great, imagine how much more you can elevate your experience by adding coaching to the mix. My methods are practical, aiming to break down complex concepts into easily digestible bits that are simple to understand. You can find reviews of the sessions I've conducted on the Fiverr link provided in the video description. Let's elevate your racing skills together.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the League Zero Inca Salsa Super Formula Series, Season 10, Round 5 at Canadian Tire Motorsports. And it is time for the sprint race. As always, I'm your host, James East, bringing the action 1080p 60 frames a second. As drivers are getting gridded up here, on pole, it's Jaden Calloway. Ray Aguilar starting second, Finley Fitzsimmons starting third, Antonio Bianchi starting fourth, Jace Meyer starts fifth, Leo Delma starting sixth, Christian Judkin starting seventh, Elliot Cotti starting eighth, David Iezzi starting ninth, Gareth McAllister, the world-famous Aussie, starting 10th, Greg Brick starts 11th, Nick Peterson starting 12th, cycle it on back, Michael Fairchild starting 13th, Shazi Zuhair starts 14th, AJ Brenner starting 15th, Xavier Zanave, the Flying Frenchman, starts 16th, Carl Hartwell starts 17th, Felipe Ramos starting 18th, Derek Doppler starts 19th, and Arturo Mayorga rounds out the 20-car grid here today. Let us know where you're from, who you're cheering on. Drivers will frequently have the broadcast pulled up on a separate monitor or device, and if they don't, they just about always watch this thing back over again. Waiting for a few more drivers to make the grid. Now, we got a report Norman King might be joining us as the co-announcer for this one. We'll see if and when he's able to get here. He got tied up at work, I believe. Looks like Craig Brick is not going to take the grid. The number 7 machine, the lone driver who might be starting from pit road. I wonder if he has a penalty here. I'll have to check. But we are green flag racing here at Canadian Tire. Lap times were less than a minute here tonight. So we're expecting a whole lot of action on a relatively small track for our Super Formula Titans. Ray Aguilar moves up into second after briefly losing the spot to Fitzsimmons. There goes Fitzsimmons diving up the inside line. Fitzsimmons will take over the second place spot. We've got an off-track reported. It's Leo Delmas able to get back out on track here, but he's going to lose a whole lot of time and positions, as now he's got Gareth McAllister, the Aussie, working the inside line. McAllister's wheel briefly disappears, comes right back. That's the magic of Australian internet, ladies and gentlemen. But Leo Delmas, the smooth-talking Frenchman, now down 9 positions, just ahead of them. Carl Hartwell, Xavier Zanave going side by side for 13th. And it looks like, yes, Finley Fitzsimmons has taken over the race lead here. Has been able to get around the 2 teammates, Jaden Calloway and Ray Aguilar. And I just saw a report Aguilar had an off-track excursion. Not quite sure what happened there. If we go back to 5th place, Jace Meyer, the number 20, he's got a lot of drivers tucked in behind him. You've got Antonio Bianchi, Christian Judkins, David Ayezi, Michael Fairchild, Sazi Juhair, all in the mix here. Now we've got a 19-lap sprint race. The feature 38 laps long. The longest feature in League Zero history, going by lap times. Let's see what the lap time updates to for Fitzsimmons. 1 minute, 968 seconds. 1.97 is probably the abbreviation I should be saying. The 1 minute lap times. Looks like we've got Rita joining us in the spectator. David taking an alternative route there, the number 29 machine. Oh, way! The wheel comes back magically somehow. So David will have his race salvaged here a little bit. As there goes Arturo Mayorga, the number 55. But again, we got Rita Zena joining us. She's cheering on Carl Hartwell. Hartwell, the number 79 machine. He's up 5 spots from where he qualified. And he's got Leo Delmas, Gareth McAllister, Derek Doppler, Xavier Zanave tucked in behind him here. Leo Delmas trying to pull up alongside Hartwell here. Side by side we go. Hartwell gets pushed back to 13th, and now he'll be chased by the world-famous Aussie McAllister. Fitzsimmons, your race leader, another fastest lap of the race. Everybody else is putting down personal best here. David Ayezi's going to limp the number 29 machine down pit road, try and get some repairs done on that. If we go a little bit further up, AJ Brenner, the number 80 machine, he's tucked in behind Shazi Zuhair and Michael Fairchild, 2 other teammates here at League Zero. Brenner trying to get some forward momentum, but he's being chased by Nick Peterson, piloting the number 24. We've got a pass for the lead, though. Jaden Calloway has fired back against Finley Fitzsimmons. So we're going to have some good racing here at Canadian Tire Motorsports. Calloway and Fitzsimmons putting down some fast laps. Calloway breaks into the 59-second lap times at 59.914. He is ripping here in the number 37. Now, this also begs the question with minute lap times. How much is lap traffic going to become a factor in our feature event here later tonight? We've had an off-track report. Gareth McAllister, the number 25, has issues. Looks like the car is going to be hammered out of shape here, and McAllister is going to take a tow back to pit road. Let's see what happened to number 25. Is it a solo incident, I wonder? Yes, it is. Oh, and everybody takes evasive maneuvers. That was Jay Smyer and Carl Hartwell diving around, and that's why McAllister had no forward momentum. He was missing that back left wheel, unfortunately. Looks like our broadcast software has a little bit of a hiccup up here in the booth, so we're going to see what we can get going on with that. We got problems up here in the booth. McAllister's losing his wheel. The broadcast software is on the fritz. Somebody didn't pay the power bill here at Team Goon Squad. It happens to the best of us, as unfortunately something is still going terribly wrong here. And we're just going to turn off the software for a second and see what we can get sorted out here. Oh, as we got wheel-to-wheel contact going on. And, bummer, while that was happening, we had some sort of incident that's going to have Jace Meyer, Gareth McAllister, AJ Brenner all taking a tow back to pit road. So there's been some sort of incident on the circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons has taken back over the race lead from Jaden Calloway. Ray Aguilar still sitting in a comfortable third here. 7 laps clicked off thus far. And looks like 16 drivers still out on track for this opening sprint of the evening. Jaden Calloway sitting about 1 second back from Fitzsimmons. He's about 1 second, Calloway is, ahead of his teammate Ray Aguilar, sporting the number 1 plate. Looks like Derek Doppler has made a move against Nick Peterson. That's going to put Doppler now up 9 positions. No, 10 positions as he sits in 9th. So Doppler having a great run, the number 24 machine. Now checking the standings, Ray Aguilar, the 3rd place driver with the number 1, is our points leader. Elliot Cotti, 2nd in points. But I believe Elliot, the number 23 machine, if we can get a camera angle pointed at him, there we go. Elliot driving with some sort of foot injury here tonight. So it's not going to be his usual chipper self on the same level. But good to see Elliott making it out in that number 23 machine, trying to salvage some points here and keep his team in the running. Derek Doppler continuing his run. He's caught up to Michael Fairchild, piloting the number 88. Doppler hops out of line here. Tries to go the long way around Fairchild. Fairchild's not going to make it easy, though. Getting that number 88 machine rotated quite cleanly back on the throttle. But here comes Doppler. He wants to keep this run going forward. And side by side once more, Fairchild's doing everything he can to defend against Doppler in the 81. It's going to be tight here. And sub 1 minute lap times. Everybody is absolutely ripping. Looks like, no, it's going to be Fairchild. Still able to defend here, keeping Doppler at bay. My goodness, things are getting frantic here in the battle for 8th. Now, with this battle between Fairchild and Doppler, that has allowed Fairchild's teammate, Shazi Zuhair, to pull a little bit further forward as Derek Doppler is going to throw it away there. And that is going to give Nick Peterson, Leo Delmas 10th and 11th a chance to improve their position if they can catch up to the back of that 81. Thankfully, Doppler kept it off the wall, so there's going to be no damage involved in that one. Going back up front, Finley Fitzsimmons continues to lead here, about 3/4 of a second up over Jaden Calloway. Calloway still holding about a 1.3 second advantage over his teammate Aguilar, who sits in 3rd. Other 2 close drivers we have out on track, Michael Fairchild, Derek Doppler, still within 0.6 of a second of each other. That must mean Fairchild must have had some sort of bobble for Doppler to close the gap back up. And other than that, you've got Peterson and Delmas. They're about a second apart. But most of the field fairly spread out here as we've got 7 laps left to go in this sprint. The pace is slowed down slightly. Fitzsimmons with a 1 minute .73. I wonder if this is going to be one of those tracks we can finally really see tire wear become a factor. And something has happened to Fitzsimmons. He's off track. Jaden Calloway takes back over the race lead. There's Calloway's teammate Aguilar coming to help take over the top 2 spots. Let's see what happened to Fitzsimmons. It's got to be a solo incident. Dips the tires in the left, too far off. Thankfully keeps it pointing in the right direction, but that's going to put Fitzsimmons back into second. Here's that battle between Doppler and Fairchild, still heating up side by side. Doppler ahead by about 1/10 of a second. Is going to finally get clear here. So let's go back up to the top 3. Calloway, Fitzsimmons, and Aguilar. A second between all 3 drivers in the top 3. The young British driver squeezed in between the 2 Americans. Now, everybody here in the top 3 is very championship-oriented. So I don't think they're going to be pushing too hard or too aggressively against each other. As I say that, though, Fitzsimmons pulls up alongside Jaden Calloway for the race lead. Calloway's got the inside line. Fitzsimmons going to try and fire back here. Not a whole lot of real estate here at Canadian Tire to make moves. Looks like Calloway comes out in the start-finish line ahead, but Fitzsimmons pulls back by just the nose. Oh, this is great racing up here in the top 2. So it's Fitzsimmons, Calloway, and Aguilar. So that was Aguilar just shooting off track there briefly. He was able to hold on to it, thankfully. Derek Doppler still has a great run going on here. He's tucked in behind Shazi Zuhair. Well, I don't know where to look. There's just action absolutely everywhere. You've got Fitzsimmons and Calloway separated by about 1/4 of a second. Zuhair and Doppler 7th and 8th, separated by 1/10 as Doppler tries to grab his 12th position gained here. You've got Leo Delmas, Nick Peterson having a battle for 10th. You've got Craig Brick, Carl Hartwell having a battle for 12th. Just action everywhere you look here tonight. And Fitzsimmons, your race leader, a huge off track. He's going to lose 1 spot to Calloway. Is it going to be 2 as Aguilar tries to make it happen? Fitzsimmons is on the ragged edge and has left no room for mistake here. He closes the gap back up to Calloway, but he has to be very mindful not to overheat the tires. Oh no, and a huge crash! The top 3 have ran out of talent. The ability is out the window. They have all absolutely binned it here at Canadian Tire. Aguilar, Fitzsimmons, and Calloway have all snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. The biggest upset I think I've seen here at League Zero. Elliott Conti takes over the race lead. He's 6 seconds up over the field. What a wild night. Let's get the replay queued up and try and digest this one. Oh my goodness. So we've got the replay queued up. Calloway's up front. Fitzsimmons is side by side here. And oh my goodness, I think Aguilar got into the back left of Fitzsimmons. That puts Fitzsimmons into his teammate, Aguilar's teammate, and one of the best crashes I think I've called. Let's watch that one more time because it's just that good. So I'm fairly certain what happens here. Aguilar, I believe, tags the wheel of Fitzsimmons. Actually, you know what? I've got a better camera angle. Hold tight, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be worth it. Enhance. So there's Aguilar, the red number 1 plate. Goes for an opening that doesn't exist. Gets into Fitzsimmons. Fitzsimmons tags Calloway. And then one of the most spectacular crashes we've seen here at League Zero. Aguilar up, and away. flips his teammate Callaway, turtling down the grass. And then all three drivers sitting, wondering what just happened. So, Elliott Cotti, your race leader, with a comfortable 6.5 second gap over the rest of the field. Antonio Bianchi in second. And it looks like Christian Judkins, the number 75, is going to be looking for his first podium here, I believe. This is the fourth start for Christian Judkins. He's had a pair of 6th place finishes to his name, and he's doing a good job. He is within 0.8 of a second of Antonio Bianchi. Let's see. Bianchi's going to do everything he can to pick up a second here. Judkins, I think, is going to have to be happy with a third. He does not want to put himself in the vortex of danger. A first career podium is absolutely huge here. The Inca Salsa Super Formula Series at League 0. White flag gets ready to get unfurled for the number 23 of Elliott. White flag is out here. Canadian Tire Motorsports. Elliott Cotti sets his fastest lap of the race last time by. Antonio Bianchi sitting in second. Christian Judkins in third. Elliott Cotti, less than 1/10 of a lap left to go here. A comfortable 7.9 seconds up over the race, over the field. Put your hands together. The young British driver driving with a wounded foot. The number 23 picks up the win here tonight. Antonio Bianchi in second, and Christian Judkins will round out the top three. My goodness, what a race. We're waiting for our top three drivers to make their way up. We've got Bianchi as quickly head over here to victory lane. And we're waiting on Elliott Cotti and Christian Judkins. So again, we're just waiting on Christian Judkins. His first time up here joining us for a podium speech. So he's having to find his way around the infield, make his way slowly, carefully, especially after that that sprint race we just saw. Doesn't want to damage any more race cars, as we've sacrificed a lot of fiberglass to the racing gods. We found Christian Judkins. So we found Christian Judkins piloting the number 75 machine. Christian, welcome. Your first podium here at League 0 and able to survive Canada Tire when so many drivers were not.
Yeah, lots of incidents on the field today, it looked like.
Now, Christian, as a relative newcomer, I believe this is your fourth start in the series. How do you kind of adapt to how rapidly things are either evolving or devolving out on track?
Just a lot of time practicing, being able to understand what my car wants to do when it wants to do, it's controlling that lets me react to what's going on around a lot easier than what it would be if I couldn't.
So, Christian, you'll be starting a third for the feature event with such a fantastic finish in the sprint. What's the game plan for that number 75 to get a good start and try and keep some of the shenanigans at bay here?
Just try to keep my nose clean, and minimize any dumb mistakes that could be, could have a potential to happen, and just try and keep those guys behind me. I'm sure they're going to be driving their asses off trying to reclaim their positions, and I just need to keep them behind me.
Well, Christian, super cool to have you up here for the first time this season, my man. Hopefully one of many more to come. And before I let you go, get ready for the feature. Who do you want to give a shout to that helps bring you home in third tonight?
I want to give a shout out to my teammate Derek, and as well as Antonio Bianchi. I was staring at his ass for the whole race, and just pushed me to keep pushing. And I had my teammate on the radio giving me calls of any funny business he saw out on track.
Well, hey, a great run for both you and Derek in that sprint race. Best of luck to both of you in the feature, and hopefully we'll have you up here a bunch more throughout the season.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was Christian Judkins joining us for the first time here in third. Up next, we've got second place Antonio Bianchi joining me. Antonio, welcome to the top three, buddy.
Thanks. Yeah, it's pretty grand entrance there, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it takes. You came into tonight third in points. A good points night for you. Your second podium of the season. It seems like Canadian Tire, just start to finish, it's going to be an exciting night, I think.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, with those guys coming through the field, it's going to make for an exciting broadcast or a very quick ending race, but we'll see.
I mean, either way, we're all here. We're here for the friends. Antonio, you're going to have a great starting position here for the feature. What is the plan to keep your nose clean and survive the opening laps here?
Yeah, no, it's definitely huge. I was saying to Nick that the qualifying position here, or track position, really matters here. It's very draft heavy track, but it's hard to pass. So if you can keep everybody behind you, honestly, it's huge. I think my strategy is just going to be to try and hang on to second place here. I think Elliot's quite a bit faster than me. I'm just going to do my best to get a good points haul. I'm just shooting for consistency this season, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, Antonio, always a good time talking to you, buddy. Best of luck in the feature. And before I let you go and get ready for this one, who do you want to give a shout out to that's supporting you and is going to be cheering you on in the longest feature event we've ever had at League Zero?
Yeah, shout out to Nick Peterson, as usual, my teammate. He's been fun to race with this season, and shout out to you guys as well. Great broadcast, great broadcast going on, and as well, just shout out to the league sponsors as usual. We got Team Goon Squad, Mustard Seed Performance Engineering, we got Get Good Racing School, and of course Inca Salsa. So appreciate everyone there.
Awesome, Antonio. Always a pleasure, bud. Best of luck in that feature.
Thanks, man. Hopefully we see you soon. Hopefully not. I'm not one of the three going out this next race.
We're rooting for you, buddy. Best of luck.
Thanks, man.
That was Antonio Bianchi. Join us in second. Next up, Elliot Cotti piloting the number 23 machine. Elliot, before we get into this, I have to ask, and I thought I heard in the paddock that you were driving with an injury in one of your feet here tonight.
Yeah, I've sprained my left ankle, so I'm driving with 1 foot. So it makes trail braking into the hairpin very difficult, and also the transition between throttle and brake it feels like forever. So it's a setback.
Well, you say that from the top spot of the podium, so you do have that going for you. And Elliot, driving a little bit wounded here tonight. Your inputs aren't as snappy fast as they are in the past. Does that kind of force you into a position where you have to stop and think a little bit more and instead of rushing into choices?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, reaction time when there's a crash in front of me, I can't just go straight on the brake. I've got to like balance it out. So yeah, it makes it a bit more risky tonight.
Now, with the 1 foot happenings, what does that change in the strategy since you're going to be starting in the top spot for the feature, or does it change anything and just trying to keep the carnage at bay behind you?
I don't really think it changes much in the strategy, but the tires themselves, I reckon, when the rears go off, that's going to lead to mistakes, and I've just got to be mindful of that. So if I've got a gap in front of second place, then I'll just, I'll be taking it easy. Try not to make any mistakes and crashing out, and then, yeah.
Well, we'll be rooting for you, bud. An excellent finish tonight, overcoming adversity, finishing in the top spot. Some massive points for you and the team. And before I let you go, get ready for the feature. Grab some ibuprofen or the European equivalent. Who do you want to give a shout to that helped put you up here in the top spot?
Shout out to the top 3, honestly. It was like the Red Sea part when they crashed. And also, obviously, a shout out to Salvador.
That's our boy, Salvador. Elliot, always a pleasure, buddy, and best of luck in the feature.
All right, cheers.
Thank you, sir. That was Elliot Conti bringing it home in the top spot. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in about 2.5 minutes with today's feature event.
Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out getgoodracing.com. I've coached hundreds of drivers from real-life racers to sim enthusiasts who experience rapid improvement after just 1 session. And while investing in top-notch hardware is great, imagine how much more you can elevate your experience by adding coaching to the mix. My methods are practical, aiming to break down complex concepts into easily digestible bits that are simple to understand. You can find reviews of the sessions I've conducted on the Fiverr link provided in the video description. Let's elevate your racing skills together.
Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Bolts. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away we go for the first time. Nicholas Morcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Now, as we've got 3 wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Nice to go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
Just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 to lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
All right, race fans, we are back, and we are gritting them up here. Now, as a reminder to the fans out there, we do have our Driver's Choice Award. Bust out ye old smartphone, get grandma to dial up the fax machine, page your uncle, scan that code, vote for your driver of the day on screen. We're going to leave that up throughout the feature. And you know what? We're going to put a link in the chat here on YouTube for the spectator as well. Let's make it easy for that grandpa that doesn't have a capable smartphone here tonight. Pinned in the chat, vote for your favorite driver. Now, the start for this feature event is set by the finishing result And here we go, green flag racing here at Canadian Tire. Elliot Conti driving a little bit wounded, gets a great start there. Let's see how things go from pit road. Now, Craig Brick and Felipe Ramos have opted to start from pit road. Side by side we go for second. Christian Judkins, Antonio Bianchi. Judkins has his teammate Derek Doppler, who's going to move up into third. I see off tracks reported. It's going to be Michael Fairchild. He's going to try and get back on as quickly as he can. Derek Doppler, the number 81, has quickly moved up into second. Bianchi getting pushed back to third. We're seeing some more votes for driver of the day come in. Now we've got 38 laps on the board here tonight. The longest feature event we've ever had in League Zero history. Antonio Bianchi's going to fire back against Derek Doppler. Nobody wants to see Elliot Conti get a breakaway up front. So I've been told by a driver the cars are bottoming out and something has gone all explodey there. That's going to be Jace Meyer, Gareth McAllister, Xavier Zanave. Who is to blame for this one? It looks like McAllister with a big blink there. Reappears. All of his tires are magically off the car. Oh, no, it's going to be ahead of McAllister. So that's Zanave, McAllister, and something has happened to last the sprint race winner, Elliot Conti. Going to be involved in an incident. Elliot's going to take a tow back down pit road. What happened here to Elliot? Oh, he loses it out of the final corner on the start-finish line. He does it all on his lonesome. Elliot pushes wide, grabs a little bit of grass, and the car gets blown to bits here. So that's going to be Derek Doppler, your race leader. His first ever lap. Sliding around goes Doppler. The commentator's curse coming at you live. Doppler off into the safety barrier. Antonio Bianchi taking over the race lead. Doppler takes a tow back down pit road. Was there contact between the two, we wonder? Looks like there may have been. Let's try and get another camera angle of that one. So let's see what happened to Doppler here. Was there contact between Doppler and Bianchi? Might have been netcode to blame for that one. So Doppler will be denied the first ever laps led here. Back in fifth place, Finley Fitzsimmons sets the fastest lap of the race, a 102.09, as he is trying to track down Carl Hartwell. But something's going on up front. Shazi Zuhair taking over the race lead from Antonio Bianchi. We've got our old friend Ryan Tebow join us in the broadcast spectator area. Oh, who's that off track? That's going to be Leo Delmas. As Ryan Tebow so widely said, absolute carnage here at Canadian Tire. Ryan Tebow is a Canadian native. He knows all about Canadian carnage, as it's going to be called from here on out. Finley Fitzsimmons has moved up into the third place spot. He's gotten around both Carl Hartwell and Leo Delmas. Oh, I thought I just saw Delmas hinting at an off track there. As Ray Aguilar, the number one machine, is going to move up the stands a little bit. Aguilar, one of those top three drivers in the sprint that was absolutely obliterated. Not even close to the halfway mark. And we have whittled it down to what looks to be, I believe, 14 drivers left on track here. Now, Christian Judkins is staying out on track. He came down pit road and tried to get that machine hammered back into shape. Leo Delma sitting in sixth, number 21. He's chased by Nick Peterson, Jaden Calloway, AJ Brenner, and a fairly tight grouping. The driver of the day vote currently held by Antonio Bianchi with a comfortable lead up here. Ray Aguilar's off the gearbox of Carl Hartwell. Aguilar needs to salvage some points here tonight. He came into tonight as the points leader, but Elliott Cotti is going to have a massive amount of points advantage now. The saving grace here for Aguilar is Elliott has already crashed out of the feature event. Fitzsimmons briefly had the fastest lap of the race. It was immediately answered by Aguilar. Another driver we see charging through the field is going to be AJ Brenner piloting the number 80 machine. He's up 8 spots so far, trying to make it 9 against Nick Peterson piloting the 24. Peterson able to defend here, but if we pan back up front, Finley Fitzsimmons in second is catching up to Shazi Zuhair. Zuhair having a fantastic night in the feature, leading some laps in the number 10 machine. Antonio Bianchi still sitting in third, but Bianchi's being chased down by his former teammate, Ray Aguilar. Gonna be interesting to see if there's a little bit of bad blood between the two former teammates. Shazi Zuhair in the top spot. Fitzsimmons tucked in behind. You can see Antonio Bianchi, Ray Aguilar, third and fourth, closing the gap to the race leaders. Carl Hartwell sitting in fifth, having a great run, that 79 machine. Fitzsimmons takes the shot for the lead. Meanwhile, Aguilar gets around Antonio Bianchi for third, so things are getting a little bit heated up here inside the top four. So Fitzsimmons going to try and get some clean air down the number 1 machine. Another driver trying to salvage some points after a dismal showing in the sprint. Fitzsimmons came into tonight 11th in points, so he has a lot of ground to gain if he wants any shot of a championship. There's your top four all in frame. Fitzsimmons, Zuhair, Aguilar, Bianchi. Not even halfway, and we whittled it down to 14 entries out of our original 20. We have yet to see any of our planned green flag stops. As a reminder to the fans, everybody should have plenty of fuel to make it till the end. But there is a mandatory tire stop, the Inca Salsa Super Formula Series. Historically, we see drivers around the halfway mark, if not later, is when they opt to box. And keep an eye out. Antonio Bianchi having a great run here. Staying right there with Ray Aguilar, his former teammate. And it looks like everybody running third place back, starting to catch up to Shazi Zuhair, who is running second. Zuhair, again, having a fantastic night. But here comes Aguilar pulling up alongside the number 10 machine. Let's see, does Bianchi try and make it a 2-for-1? Andrew Neri joined us saying hello from the Philippines. I know Andrew well enough, but I'm still not sure if he's actually in the Philippines or just saying that. Antonio Bianchi with the big off track there, the number 17 machine. He's going to lose sight of Aguilar and Zuhair running second and third. Handing back to fifth place, Carl Hartwell defending with all his might against a former champion, Jaden Calloway. Calloway with a huge crossover move there. Calloway will get by Hartwell. Hartwell falls back to sixth, still up 4 spots from where he started. Fitzsimmons, your race leader, has the fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute flat .6. Unfortunately, Christian Judkins had another incident. He's going to take a tow back down pit road. Oh, good. Andrew Neri is officially an international viewer for this one. Hopefully you get home safe back to the States, my friend, and always appreciate you and everybody else tuning in, supporting the league, the drivers, as well as the broadcast. Look at the dirt getting kicked up here from drivers extending the limits to the start-finish line. You've got Callaway, Hartwell, Brenner, Peterson, and a nice tidy clump running 5th through 8th out on the circuit. Your race leader, Finley Fitzsimmons, 1.7 seconds up over Aguilar. Aguilar has about a second advantage over Zuhair. Brenner and Peterson closing up behind Hartwell here. Let's go a little bit further forward. Antonio Bianchi trying to track down Shazi Zuhair. On board with Bianchi. As a reminder, the fans' choice is still open. The bottom of your screen, there's a QR code and a link in the spectator area on YouTube where you can vote for your favorite driver. Bianchi doing everything he can to close in behind Zuhair, still sitting about a quarter of a second off the back. We just got a report. AJ Brenner has made his way around Carl Hartwell. Hartwell's going to try and fire back in the inside line. It's the number 79 of Hartwell versus the 80 of Brenner. But, oh, Brenner pushes a little bit wide there. Hartwell doesn't check up much, and that's going to allow Peterson to interject himself into this 3-car battle for 6th. Peterson backs out of it just a little bit here. As I just got a report, we got Norman King join us in the broadcast room.
Yes, I am here finally. It's been a long day.
No doubt. I'm gonna get the broadcast preview pulled up for you here up in our little booth. But Norman, you've missed one of the wildest League Zero races I've called in a while. We've had top 3 drivers crashing each other out. We've had newcomers leading laps here, first-time podiums, and just all around, a lot of action here tonight.
Well, I'm sorry I missed it, but I know this track always can throw some wrinkles into people's races.
Yeah, it seems like it's definitely happening. I think, thankfully for the leaders, we've whittled it down to about 13 drivers out on track. We were concerned lap traffic was going to be an issue here tonight, as right now the top drivers hitting right around that 1 second flat. We saw some 59s in the sprint race, and I'm wondering if we're going to maybe see that again towards the end of the race when drivers are going to be a little bit more liberal with the push to pass.
Yeah, I think as we've been watching this in the past few weeks, we've seen them definitely get to those times they hit in the sprint race.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. It looks like things are starting to bunch up a little bit behind Shazi Zuhair. He's been doing a great job holding on to a top 3. Bianchi is going to come down pit road, so now it's going to be Jaden Callaway, the 37. He's one of those drivers I mentioned in the sprint race that got sent home early with a huge collision in the top 3. But now Callaway, he's looking for some redemption, that 37. He wants to be sporting that number 1 by the time this season is over, and I think he's going to do everything in his power to try and make that happen.
Yeah, I think we got 3 or 4 drivers that are going to be pushing for that number 1 at the end of the season this year.
Going to be interesting to see. Shazi Zuhair still holding on to the 3rd place spot. Antonio Bianchi completes his pit stop. AJ Brenner, David Iezzi have also hit their one scheduled stop. Looks like the top 6 drivers have yet to pit, as well as Arturo Mayorga sitting in 13th. So right about the halfway mark seems to be when we're seeing drivers come down pit road. And I'm wondering, what would you do in this situation? Would you stay out as long as you can, or is there a right call to make here?
There's the right call, but it's not easy to get. Definitely if you don't have anyone helping you from the box, you've got to find that spot in traffic where you're going to come out in clean air. This is a very fast track, and I think getting in dirty air can actually make you lose time.
Yeah, drivers were telling us through practice quality, even after the sprint, it's a very fast track, but it's been deceptively difficult for everybody to make passes at here tonight. So I'm curious to see how long that's going to go on for, as we've got more drivers down pit road. That was Shazi Zuhair, who just boxed in the number 10 machine. So that's going to leave your top 5 still out on track here. Callaway running good in 3rd, but right now it's the Finley Fitzsimmons show, the number 16, running very well. It has a 2.1 second gap over Aguilar. That's something we haven't really seen in the past, or at least not in quite a while.
No, it isn't. It's been a long time since we've seen a leader build a really good lead. I guess back to, what was it, Monza, or the race before Monza when we saw that lead get built up.
Yeah, you're right. It's been quite a minute. Now I'm going to pan back a little bit. Antonio Bianchi, Shazi Zuhair once again linked up. Now that their pit cycles are finished. These were 2 drivers that were previously battling for a podium spot, as it looked like Zuhair, it almost looked like he lifted a little bit there, but it looked like he was setting Bianchi up as they remained side by side.
Yeah, it's going to be hard on the outside through here, but Bianchi's going to go for it. Let me say, that's a really fast corner, and if you have to enter on the outside, it's... Oh,
my goodness! Felipe Ramos was parked in the track, and I don't know if Bianchi and Zuhair had time to lift. We're seeing the replay. I mean, no fault there of Felipe, I think, but let's see if we can go on board. And you're going to see how just exciting this was for Felipe. Yeah, those 2 just absolutely ripped by him.
I think the race stewards are going to have to look at that. That might be an unsafe rejoin. I know he probably didn't know they were coming, but you still have to be aware.
Yeah, exactly. That could have been a recipe for disaster for Bianchi and Zuhair, who were wide open through that section, really didn't have any time to react. Thankfully, they were able to get through nice and clean. Jaden Callaway, the number 37, he's completed his pit stop in and out of his stall, 6.98 seconds. One of the fastest tire changes we've seen so far tonight. But while Callaway was on pit road, Fitzsimmons just set the fastest lap of the night once more, a 1 minute .37. I think Fitzsimmons, with that 3-second gap he has over Aguilar, just wants to keep clicking off laps here, see if he can extend that lead, and then he's got to make sure he's absolutely perfect on pit road, as now Ray Aguilar is coming down to box.
Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on him as he comes down pit lane here to see what his times look like, so we can compare it to Callaway and Fitzsimmons.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm curious to see how long Fitzsimmons stays out for. Peterson and Hartwell, they're going to stay out, all moving up into the top 3. So it's your top 3 plus Arturo Mayorga running 13th at number 55. The only 4 drivers out on track here have yet to pit. And again, it's an odd situation. This is the longest feature lap-wise we've ever had in League Zero history, but it's also some of the shortest lap times we've ever seen.
Yes, this is not a very long track, but it's also a very fast track. I really would only say there's only like 2 turns on this track that I would call slow speed turns.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty much wide open all the way around, and even on those lower speed corners, really no room to have a lapse of judgment. Very easy to send these Super Formula machines careening around, and drivers were already telling us that the car is bottoming out in turn 2 here tonight. Something with the setup is slightly askew, so that's making it even tougher for these guys to hold on to, and has led to some cars doing some exciting moments that historically we really wouldn't see.
Yeah, it's you have to drive this track on edge at all times, and entering too early or too late can send your car off track, and as you can see, there is no runoff here at this track.
Yeah, we've seen plenty of cars absolutely explode here at Canadian Tire. And Shazi Zuhair not quite able to get back around Antonio Bianchi. Bianchi's going to get us the smallest bit of breakaways here. And here we go. Your race leader, Finley Fitzsimmons, is down pit road. What about Nick Peterson, who is about 14.5 seconds back? Is Peterson going to stay out for another lap, do you think? Or is he going to dive down pit road? Well, the answer is he stays out.
Also on the pit, interesting timing here is Ray was 6/10 slower in his stall, but he was 7/100ths faster on pit road.
Very interesting. So he was able to be right on the edge of speeding there, I think.
Right. But Fitzsimmons looks like, what is that, 4,200ths faster than Ray, and with the fastest stop of the night, it looks like with a 6.35.
So it's also interesting, Craig Brick is now showing second. He was involved in an incident very early on tonight. Came down pit road, had a slow stop, 11.85 in his pit stall to get some repairs, but that might be favoring him here a little bit, as now he's running second. He's got a clean track all the way around him. He's 3.6 back from Peterson, who has yet to box. And Finley Fitzsimmons is about 6.2 seconds back. Brick, I think, has accidentally put himself in a really good position here.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because my timing screen doesn't give me past information, so I didn't know where he was. Are we positive that he took tires in that stop, too?
Well, there's no way to verify that, but I feel comfortable betting that Brick would have taken tires while the machine was getting repaired. If you're already down there, you can hope that things pan out. Maybe a safety car is deployed and you've already had the tires. You can gain a ton of track position. So I'm going to wager here that Brick has already taken tires.
Well, then I think I was watching his times and noticing that he was way in the pit window for these guys to pit, and he was going to take a massive lead here.
Yeah, he's still about 3.5 seconds back from Peterson. Finley, and there we go. Peterson's down pit road. Fitzsimmons isn't closing up too incredibly quickly here to Brick, so now Brick is going to lead this thing in the number 7.
Yeah, we'll see what Fitzsimmons can do. Brick will start to lose some tires here late in this race, but like I said last week, it's one thing to catch someone, it's another thing to pass them. As Callaway with the fastest lap, a 1:28.
Yeah, he's ripping back there, the number 37 machine. He wants to get at least a podium, but he's fairly far back from the top 3 at this point. Everybody has boxed that is out on track, so we're fairly confident that everybody has completed that mandatory tire stop. And right now, all eyes on Craig Brick, who's still holding a 4.9 second gap. Now, we've got about 15 laps left to go, so if second through 5th place, or 4th place, I should say, maintain the pace, Brick, I think, is going to have company in the next 5 to 10 laps. But for right now, he's going to really enjoy the limelight. And I'm going to look, Norman, I'm not sure if he's ever led a lap here before.
I do not have that information either, but Zuhair did get around Bianchi.
So while you're following the action, I'm going to see if I can find Craig's statistics here.
As we have Antonio coming back here as they enter turn 1. He's trying to find a way around. I just don't know if he has the pace. I think you're going to need probably a 1/4 of a second to almost a 1/2 a second to try to get around someone at this track. Unless you get the run down that back stretch with push to pass, and they've burned all theirs.
Yeah, these guys are going to be in an interesting spot here, I think, if they want to try to make this pass. I mean, that circles back to the drivers telling us, hey, it's a fast track. It's very tough to actually complete any passes. And I'm looking here. This is going to be Craig Brick's first ever laps led here at League Zero. So tip of the hat, the number 7 machine having a great run. His highest finish was a 4th back at Long Beach earlier this year, February 1st. He's been able to start P10 and bring home a 4. So Craig Brick's in a good spot here. Just has to stay the course and keep his nose clean, I think, because Fitzsimmons in second. Once again, the fastest lap of the race. He is trying to close that gap as quickly as he can.
Yeah, I think Fitzsimmons and Ray might get Brick, but I don't think Callaway is going to be there in time. It all depends on the driver's mentality. Does Brick just say, hey guys, y'all are faster than me, I'm going to let you go, and just try to stay on the podium?
Yeah, I think that would be a wise call, but it's tough to make that decision from the cockpit of one of these Super Formula machines, especially when these drivers get a little bit of red mist in their eyes, and all of a sudden Brick, for the first time in his career, could be defending for a race win here. Now, we did have another crash report. It's going to be Carl Hartwell, the number 79. We got the replay queued up. Is it a solo incident? Does he get some help? And he's just going to push wide, loop it out. And thankfully, he pulls off the track there to avoid any car-to-car contact. And everybody's going to get through that one nice and clean. But your race leader, Craig Brick, he's got company. Fitzsimmons has closed it within a second here.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting battle. Like we said, Brick is on old tires. He pitted on lap 1, if I remember right. And Fitzsimmons is only on, what?
6 laps at best.
Old tires? Yeah.
Oh, there goes Hart. No, Brick's going to come back down pit road. So I think you might have been right. I wagered incorrectly. Craig Brick might not have taken tires in that early stop. And I know he is kicking himself after that one.
Yeah. It is interesting. I would have taken the tires and then tried to manage them throughout the race. You got to take it like Formula 1. I know they don't have tire compounds. A lot of guys that have incidents early come in and get the hards and try to run the rest of the race and just manage track position and just try to go long. And I think he should have done some tire management there. And it might be he was just out of tire. He knew that he couldn't hold on to the car.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not going to be going the right way for Brick. But again, tip of the hat, his first ever laps led here at League Zero. That's an achievement in and of itself. So he's got to be pleased with himself overall, despite not having the power of hindsight with him. Now, Zuhair and Bianchi still having a fierce battle here for 4th. 2/10 separating the two. Zuhair, the number 10 machine up front, the black and lime green. Bianchi, the red and white number 17 machine, doing everything he can. But I think this is that dirty area you were talking about. Bianchi just can't find a good place to facilitate a pass and has to stay glued to the back of Zuhair here.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand car placement in defense is major, and Zuhair is doing a great job of just putting his car on entry in front of Antonio, which is causing him to lose air on that front wing and causing just a little bit more push.
Yeah, making it exponentially tougher. Zuhair doing a great job defending that preferred line. Bianchi just not quite able to find an opening. But I think Bianchi's going to keep the pressure on Zuhair here as long as he can. If the sprint is any sign of things to come with 10 laps left to go here at Canadian Tire, then it's going to be all about attrition and trying to force those other drivers into some sort of mistake. And Bianchi's not backing off at all here. He's staying right around that 2/10, a quarter of a second mark off of Zuhair and backing up his corners in certain places, trying to get some big runs. And Bianchi's in a good spot here. He has the time and the draft to kind of play around with the line choices a little bit. Try something different outside the norm. Pull back up to Zuhair with the draft and keep the process up to see what he can figure out before we have the white flag displayed.
Yeah, he needs to be patient, and he needs to get him coming out. I think he needs the run out of the hairpin. I think that's where you're going to get him down that long back stretch and just try to get the drive off right here. I think he's entering too close to him into the first turn right before the hairpin, and he just can't get the drive off out of the hairpin.
Yeah, it's going to be a case of slow in, fast out is what Bianchi is looking for. Now I see AJ Brenner back in 6th, the number 80. He's up 11 spots. So if Zuhair and Bianchi start to battle too intently here, that's going to allow the likes of Brenner, Peterson to start to close that up. Brenner and Peterson both just set their fastest laps of the race, as well as Jaden Calloway sitting in 3rd. Fitzsimmons enjoying, though, a very comfortable lead, 3.8 seconds up over Aguilar. Calloway about 4 seconds back from his teammate Aguilar. I think those two running 2nd or 3rd are strictly thinking of points management here tonight after a sprint race that went dismally poor for them.
Yeah, and Antonio is pushing the edge of this track, trying to find a different line. And you can tell that he's struggling with it. He's almost put it off into the grass twice here in this past lap.
Yeah, it's that's the reverse side of that attrition battle we were talking about. Don't want to push yourself too hard, or especially in these super formulas, overheat the tires as Bianchi's exploring those different options, because AJ Brenner has closed almost a second to this battle for 4th. So I would not be surprised the next 4 or 5 laps to see Brenner fully interjecting himself into the party. The top 3 have absolutely checked out at this point. Fitzsimmons, Aguilar, Calloway, by far and away ahead of the rest of the field, about 10 seconds up. As man, and Bianchi, that car is trying to snap loose on him as he's putting the power down as quickly as he can.
Yeah, Zuhair's doing a great job managing this. He's getting off the turns just enough, but it's disturbing the air for Antonio, and he cannot get the power down right now.
Yeah, that's got to be a frustrating position to be in. He's still right there, 0.2 of a gap. Brenner's closed it to 1.3 seconds now back from this battle. And I think Zuhair is going to do everything he can. He's up 1 spot from where he started in the feature. He was able to keep his nose clean the sprint. And I almost wonder if he would be grateful to have Brenner close up a little bit and maybe take the heat off a little bit if Brenner starts to battle with Bianchi.
Yeah, it would help him. He's doing really good at keeping that car taking up all 3 lanes here around this narrow track.
Yeah, that's tough to do and still be quickly. Bianchi has fallen off slightly, 3/4 of a second off the back of Zuhair, and that has put Bianchi almost within drafting distance of AJ Brenner. Now, the hard charger out on track right now is your race leader, Finley Fitzsimmons. He's up 14 positions. But you've got guys such as Aguilar. He's up 12. Callaway's up 13. AJ Brenner's up 11. David Iezzi, he's up 10 spots. So Canadian Tire has been kind to some drivers and very unforgiving for a few others here tonight.
Yeah, it's wrong click. This is very interesting. I am heartbroken that I've missed such great racing, it seems like, tonight. Definitely looking like the sprint, how it went. Oh, we got a battle here. Antonio very close to the edge of the track there and running his tires off.
But he's going to make it stick. Bianchi up into 4th. Zuhair gets pushed back to 5th, so now it's going to be Zuhair, who is also under fire from Brenner. So Bianchi took his time to really set that up. He was back by about 3/4 of a second and then absolutely hammered the throttle of the number 17 machine. But Zuhair's not going to let him go away easy here. And I think I just heard AJ Brenner have a problem behind. So Brenner's going to fall back. He has company from Peterson, and that is going to leave Bianchi and Zuhair to have their own private battle for 4th.
All right, now the question is, can Antonio do the same thing that Zuhair was doing and keeping that car taking up all 3 lanes of the track and keeping that dirty air on the front nose of Zuhair?
Yeah, and this is really the first time we've seen Zuhair tucked in behind another driver for quite some time. About 4 laps left to go here, and right behind this battle for 4th, you're having a fantastic battle for 6th. Brenner and Peterson were swapping back and forth there briefly, so Peterson has a little bit of race left of him in their number 24, but Peterson pushes wide and trims the grass here in Canada, and that is a very unforgiving spot if you push too wide.
Yeah, that's that dirty air. I don't think he was expecting the wash from Brenner to come up into his nose, and when it did, it just pushed him wide.
So here's Shazi Zuhair trying to make something happen against Bianchi, looking for any opening he can find. Bianchi, it's his turn to make the number 17 machine 3 lanes wide. Zuhair staying right there off the gearbox. Brenner and Peterson working that draft. They're starting to catch up. It looks like here, Norman, we might have a 4-car battle for 4th shaping up in the final laps.
I was thinking that was coming, and this is really gonna throw a wrench into this battle up front.
Yeah, I think Bianchi and Zuhair would be content having a 2-car shootout down to the end. They don't really want Brenner and Peterson to catch up. Now, Bianchi might be appreciative to have Peterson up in the mix. It would be nice for the number 17 to have a teammate, but that also comes with the extra baggage of AJ Brenner, who's going to do everything he can to squeeze up into that top 5. And knowing there's not a lot of laps left here, I'm expecting if drivers think they have the pace, but maybe we're being a little bit tentative to make an attempt, I think that's about to go out the window, and we're about to see some elbows out racing up here in the top 5.
Oh yeah, the gloves are off now.
Zuhair still within a 1/4 of a second Bianchi, but there's AJ Brenner. He's a 1/4 of a second off the gearbox of that top 5 position. Looks like they've shaken off Peterson. Peterson must have had a bobble. He's about 2 seconds back from this battle now.
That's not what Antonio wants to hear either.
No, he was looking for some teammate support up here, but now he's got 2 opposing drivers, Shazi Zuhair, AJ Brenner behind Bianchi, and it looks like Brenner's going to take a peek to the inside line. Doesn't get the drive he was looking for against Zuhair, but he is not going to wait. He is on the throttle, and he's going to do whatever it takes to muscle his way up inside the top 5.
Oh yeah. It looks like, I don't know if Antonio is struggling or if he's trying to back Zuhair into Brenner right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's going to be a tough call to make. If that is what he's doing, it's either try and hammer down and hope Brenner takes the heat off with Zuhair, because if you do back the pace up a little bit, it can bode well for you. You can tie up the driver behind, or all of a sudden you're going to have 2 drivers trying to muscle you out of the way. And I see Peterson closing the gap by about 0.3 of a second, but I think it's going to be a little bit too late, as next time by, Finley Fitzsimmons, your race leader, he's going to take the white flag here.
Yeah, I don't know if Antonio trying to play a, Magnussen role and back these 2 drivers back into Peterson to try to help his teammate here.
I think that is way too late in the race to really give that much of an effort, because Zuhair and Brenner are both within about a half second here. Bianchi's teammate Peterson, he's about 2 seconds back here from this battle going on. So that's a massive distance to make up, especially as the white flag gets unfurled at the start-finish line for Finley Fitzsimmons. I think Bianchi's going to be on his own here. He's going to have to defend against both Zuhair and Brenner.
Yeah, and he was slow through the hairpin. I don't know if he had a mistake, but it backed everyone up, so no one got a run off out of the hairpin down this straightaway, which is going to help Antonio. Now it's all going to come down to the push to pass on this final lap.
Now we're fairly confident AJ Brenner has used all of the magic button. Antonio Bianchi, Shazi Zuhair going to hammer down. Jaden Calloway in 3rd, the first driver here in the feature to get down to a 59. It was a 59.8 for the 37. White flag is out here. A half lap left to go for Finley Fitzsimmons, who is in a different zip code at this point. Bianchi builds up about a 0.6 of a second gap, loses about a 1/10 there to Shazi Zuhair, and I think Zuhair is going to try and stay on the button, or get on the button as quickly as he can, and see if he can keep Brenner behind him. Brenner's in a tough spot with no push to pass at this point. It's going to be very tough to get around Zuhair, who we've seen is a master at defense here tonight.
Yeah, and it looks like Antonio got the run he needed down this straightaway. It's going to be very tight for Zuhair to try to even get a run coming into the final turns here.
Put your hands together. Finley Fitzsimmons picks up the win here at Canada Tire. Ray Aguilar in 2nd. Jaden Calloway in 3rd. Let's see, does Antonio Bianchi hold on to the 4th place spot? Does Zuhair and Brenner swap spots? No, it's going to be 4th, 5th, and 6th. Bianchi, Zuhair, and Brenner with a great race all the way through.
Yeah, this was very enjoyable to watch the end of this race. As we have contact after the race. I don't know if that was just misreading of a hey, good race, and they just came into each other, or if that was frustration. Looks like we got a little bit of frustration going on back here.
Trying to see who that is.
It's Antonio and Zuhair going at it.
Then knowing those drivers so well, I think they're just having a great time, I think, as Bianchi motocrosses the number 17 through the infield. I think that's just three dudes having fun being guys.
Yeah. As Antonio looks like he's going to try to drive this car back with with a tire missing.
What a legend. We're going to get our top three drivers up here to victory lane. Looks like they're all staged, so I'll be asking a question. Norman will ask him a question, then I'll ask him a question, as we will start things off with Jaden Calloway, the number 37 machine. Jaden, we didn't get to talk to you after the sprint race, but the feature's got to be a bit of a redemption for you and your teammate.
Yeah, definitely. Considering where we started, we'll take that. But yeah, it could have been a 1-2 in the sprint for sure.
Yeah, it looks like you came out with the fastest lap of the race. Was it just traffic that held you up tonight in the feature race, or do you think that you just couldn't get the lapse times down quick enough to keep up with Fitzsimmons?
We were all basically lapping the same, more or less, but I got stuck behind a few slower cars earlier on in the race and couldn't really get by, so I ended up losing like 3 or 4 seconds to Ray and Finley, and then it was just too big of a margin to make up.
Well, Jaden, good to have you back up here. A good redemption arc for you and that 37 machine after a very rough go. Always a great time talking to you. And before I let you go and unwind from this one, who do you want to give a shout to that helps put you back up on the podium?
I'm gonna shout out my little brother. It's his 10th birthday today, so shout out to you, Jordan.
Well, very cool. Jaden, always a pleasure, buddy, and hopefully we'll have you up here next week.
Thanks, James.
That was Jaden Calloway in third. Up next, we've got Mr. Ray Aguilar, the number 1 machine. Ray, explain yourself.
Yeah, I got a lot of explaining to do. I don't know. I had too much momentum and misjudged it. Wasn't trying to pass it. I was just actually telling this to Finley. I was apologizing. Wasn't trying to pass anybody. I had a run and I'm like, oh, let me lift because there's no way I'm taking it 3 wide here. And by the time the car slowed down, I was in the middle of the two. Messed her up. 100% my fault.
Acceptable.
I hope you two forgive me the most. I could care less about Finley. It's you two. It's your opinions that I care the most about.
Well, unfortunately tonight, Ray, I missed that incident. But besides that, what else do you have with your teammate and you taking both 2 lower spots on the podium? What else do you have this year to come for this team?
I think I've been playing the role of consistent. Other than tonight, I've been playing the role of consistency, and Jaden's been playing the role of unadulterated, really fast speed. So we've been making a good team so far. Just me bringing home consistent points and him getting most of the wins.
Well, Ray, always a pleasure, man. Good to have you and Callaway with a little bit of redemption here tonight at Canadian Tire. Before I let you go, unwind and handle all the admin shenanigans, who do you want to give a shout to that helps put you up here in second?
I want to thank my team for not killing me after tonight. I want to thank my wife for letting me do this and not making me feel bad about it. And I want to really just root on the Florida Panthers. Really, I think we all hope that they do well against the Rangers.
No.
I know Norman's a big Rangers fan, so I'm really going for the Panthers.
Well, Ray, always a pleasure, buddy. Good to have you back up here. Cool to have you and your teammate going second and third. And hopefully we'll have you back up here more throughout the remainder of the season.
I love you too.
Thank you, sir. That was Ray Aguilar in second. But up next, the man of the hour, Finley Fitzsimmons, the number 16, a dominating performance here. A comfortable 4.6 second gap at the end, a clean race car. And good to have you back in the top spot, sir.
Yeah, it was a long time coming. We've been working hard throughout the season. The first couple of races were a bit of a shock, and we've been putting in the work in. And yeah, it's finally paid off.
From this win, Finley, are you going to be able to build on the rest of the year from this momentum?
Yeah, I was about to say, it should be good momentum coming in the next few races. I haven't checked which tracks we got coming up next, but I think it definitely gives me the confidence to push that a little bit harder the next few races for sure.
Well, Finley, always a great time talking to you, bud. Loving the new updated profile photo for you and that number 16 machine. And tonight, my friend, you've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout to that helped make this win possible for you?
Great thank you to, first of all, you guys and the broadcast speak, James and Norman, Antonio for running a great league. I'll say the same thing pretty much every time, but the stewards, of course, for putting on or keeping the racing clean. And I can finally dedicate a win to my late granddad, who passed away just before the first race, or just before the second race of the season, excuse me. Although it is maybe a little bit pathetic to, dedicate him to a sim racing race, but we've got his funeral coming up soon. And I was happy I could finally get the win. And it's definitely a bit of weight lifted off my stomach for sure that I've finally been able to get that P1 spot. But yeah, thank you to everyone.
Well,
it's a great race here today, and yeah.
Well, cheers, Finley. Good to have you back in the top spot. Always well said, my friend. And hopefully we'll have you up here a bunch throughout the remainder of this season.
Thank you, James. Likewise, see you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
And Norman, that was Finley Fitzsimmons in the top spot. Very well spoken. He was accompanied by Mr. Ray Aguilar and Jaden Calloway with the top 3.
Yeah, it was, sorry I was late, but a very good, entertaining race there at the end. And we'll see how this season shakes out as these guys are battling for a championship and a team championship.
Going to be an exciting one all the way down to the wire. Tip of the hat to Antonio Bianchi, winning driver of the day, with Gareth McAllister and Arturo Mayorga bringing up the top 3 on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Inca Salsa, Get Good Coaching, and of course, LeagueZero.net. My name has been James East, accompanied by Norman King. Thank you guys so much for spending your Thursday night with us, and we'll see you at the next one. Have a great night, everybody.